For the Emperor! Yes, that's right, Emperor Karl Franz making his return to the channel. It's actually been quite a while since we've featured good old Karl on his Death Claw. Yes, this replay from Calamity here. He's going to be taking Empire into Grand Cathay. So we've got a Battle of Human Nations here, and let's take a look at Emperor Karl's army. He's got a line of Pistoliers here. Wow, don't see Pistoliers super often these days, even though they are still one of my favorite skirmish cavalry. Their limited ammunition makes them a little bit tough to pay for themselves at times, but let's see how they can do here. At disrupting Cathay's lines, we've got some Empire Knights, a Life Wizard, Jade Wizard there, and a Steam Tank over on the far side with a Regiment of Renown, Sterling's Revenge, armor-piercing pistols. Let's take a look at what Cathay's got. Satang already blasting some arrows down into the crater there. Shugengan of Yin leading the way. Let's take a look at that spell kit. Looking like Cloak of Jet, Blossom Wind, Ancestral Warriors. Pretty good stuff. Ancestral Warrior summon have pretty much always been good, but did they actually get a duration increase with the other summon duration increases? I don't recall. It's possible. Jade crossbows with shields here. We've also got the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin. Some Peasant Long Spears. Yeah, Karl charges in. Initially gets a little slap to the ankles here of Satang, but decides to pull back there. And the Pistoliers are making their way forward. Relatively limited ranged component from Cathay. I mean, obviously the Jade Warriors plus Satang, all quite powerful. Satang does get a hit there on the Steam Tank out in the distance, which is itself firing a bit into those Peasant Horsemen as it approaches here. But Karl going to continue disrupting here. Doesn't want the Great Winged Construct to continue firing at the Steam Tank, so he's going to charge in with Deathclaw once more. And the Righteous Lance is going to come in and push him away. He does have some supporting elements nearby, the Empire Knights and other troops. The Pistoliers providing a little bit of covering fire here. Some kind of shots in the flanks. Not really doing too much so far, but let's see how they can get on as the Empire troops are attacking uphill, which is going to be a disadvantage to them, definitely. The slope's not too extreme, except maybe on the far side there. But it is a small advantage in Cathay's favor, not to mention the Steam Tank. Oh yeah, I think it's actually going to maybe get the crest here. We see the Empire Knights also charging in. Karl fighting Satang there in the center. There's that little summon there for Cathay. Gets the Ancestral Warriors on the field. Unfortunately, Karl is able to just run away, which is, of course, one of the issues with having a halberd summon. Their relative lack of mobility and agency will lead to them kind of getting zoned often like this. Here we see the Pistoliers doing some nice work against some Peasant Long Spears, also drawing some fire from those crossbows, which definitely could be shooting at a higher value target like the Steam Tank here in the center. Having a hard time getting free. It looks like, ooh, yeah, that's not great. The Ancestral Warriors getting into melee combat against it. Gonna turn around and see if it can path back the other way. Those Peasant Horsemen doing some nice work, kind of keeping it bogged down right now and not allowing it to continue moving. Nice Blossom Wind there as well. Gets through some of those swordsmen. I forget that actually has the blinded contact effect. Yeah, actually pretty solid. It has a super long AoE if I remember right too. It might have been able to hit multiple units down the line. But regardless, does lead to one swordsman getting routed there. The Sterling's Revenge as well. Yeah, they managed to push back the Peasant Horsemen, but have taken quite a bit of damage in the process. Both players punching hard here. Balance power maybe going slightly in Cathay's favor, but let's see. No great swords and no long guns by either side, right? There's no crane guns or Hawkwood long rifles. So it'll be said a little bit more old-fashioned means, you might say. Satang getting a couple lucky attack animations there as Karl not able to get any good connections, but still not really losing necessarily. Empire Knights getting pushed back a little bit here, and the Pistoliers still hanging around, still doing some nice harassing. But they have quite a bit of ammunition left at this point. Ooh, they're going to maybe try and get in range to blast Satang here, along with the Sterling's Revenge. A lot of density of fire here. The Pistoliers don't have the best AP values, but it's solid enough. They can get some damage in, but the Blossom Wind, we cast once more, has a pretty long wind-up time. Yeah, it does have quite a long AoE. You can see it just goes for days there. Actually wrecks that other swordsman unit. But the blinded contact effect will somewhat reduce the accuracy of these units. Doesn't really do too much. Not going to be enough to save Setang, certainly, as the guns of the Empire are just whittling him away. Going to start losing his leadership here and face the crumbling of a construct. And, yeah, the Shugengan chasing around the Jade Wizard here. He's trying to stay out in space, stay free, and stay in a position where he can heal this steam tank. Very important as it continues running around the lines here. We're going to see another summon. Yep, another ancestral warrior summon here. Gets on the field. Steam tank immediately is going to path away from that and trying to take advantage of the slope here. Riding downhill. Nice cannon shot there as it advances. And the swordsman you can see filtering in to get this engagement going as well. So around the sides here, yeah, if you look on the periphery, the Empire Knights doing an okay job continuing to disrupt the ranged units kind of all across the field here. Peasant Longspears trying their best to protect, but between Karl and the Knights, there's still enough mobility to kind of pull things apart here a little bit. Pistolier is also going to be probably used to chase some routing units, I would imagine, in this late game phase. Still have plenty of ammunition as well to kind of pepper down some weakened units as they need to. But Karl's got to be a little bit careful. He also is in need of some healing. So that Jade Wizard definitely needs to stay safe. Unfortunately, can't see the Winds of Magic that he has access to, but he's only taken regrowth, so really there's only 2 targets to regrowth here, which is Karl and the Steam Tank. The fact that you do have 2 targets to regrowth can be a little bit tough at times if they're both to take a lot of burst damage, but right now damage is being spread pretty evenly between them, and Empire, as a result, is able to kind of keep fighting just fine. Pistoliers say just fine. A lot of infantry to be kiting around, and the Pistoliers are really going to have to put in some work here, helping to support Karl. He's getting some major HP damage from this engagement here as the Righteous Lances land. Get some good charge damage, and just in a surround, too. They have pretty decent stats, pretty decent AP value. So, yeah, 45 AP per hit. Definitely not bad, but we see the regrowth popping in there now. Gal Miraz also active to give him some extra anti-large punch. Plus extra 16, especially for that melee attack. He's trying to get through the Lance's melee defense. Meanwhile, yeah, Pistoliers, like I said, being used to chase routing units, kind of contact and melee briefly against those crossbows, but ultimately they are going to start to fall apart here under the rain of the crossbows that remain. Let's see. Steam Tank exhausted at this point. It's going to be pretty slow, especially charging uphill. Don't imagine this charge will do a crazy amount of damage, but I mean the Steam Tank does have so much mass that it's not necessarily going to get stopped by that. But it will very slowly kind of turn. Little cannon shot there. It's just that Cathay, I mean, they can continue to shoot the Steam Tank, and the crossbows with their own pretty good AP values should be able to get some damage over time, certainly, but the Steam Tank kind of constantly jerking around and moving around does mean that it's going to get less contact from those arrows, right? The crossbow bolts even, and also, you know, as that directional missile block. So in the rear arc, it will be taking some damage, but you see it's nothing crazy impressive. So as long as it keeps kind of circling around and not really getting set and staying stationary with its back facing towards these crossbows, it should be mostly fine here to just continue running around doing its thing. Karl also coming in with a nice bloody side charge there. Yeah, these single entities of the Empire, Cathay doesn't have a lot of great responses to, besides just to try and outlast them and whittle them down with missiles. So we'll pop this into fast forward a little bit as yeah, the Shugengan kind of chases the Jade Wizard around. We do see Karl getting heal capped now after some more regrowths. So we'll continue to fast forward as the single entities of the Empire kind of chase whatever routing units they can. The Jade Wizard getting a little bit crazy here. I think he's probably used up most of his heals by this point, but does actually get caught by the Shugengan in the air here. Great credit to the Cathay player to get that briefly engagement going. But ultimately, it is going to come down to the Steam Tank and Karl, of course, making their final attacks. And up against them is only one crossbow, along with a bunch of infantry, none of which are going to be particularly effective against the Steam Tank. I mean, obviously the spears do have anti-large, but low armor piercing against the massive armor. The Steam Tank, even at exhaustion, is still at 120 armor. Just absolutely insane. So those units will be doing very little in melee against it. Karl also catches the Shugengan up in the air. She tries to use that Cloak of Jet to escape, but gets spotted and gets absolutely clobbered. That'll lead the Cathay player to throw in the towel there. So, yeah, Last the Mohican there did as best as he could. Credit to him. Nice Cathay build overall. Definitely gave Calamity some troubles, but ultimately just did not have an appropriate answer. With the Steam Tank, almost, you know, yeah, 470 kills, just about. Very impressive stuff. Carl, less on the kill totals, but definitely some great value and overall damage being dealt to the important single entities and kind of power units of Cathay here. Ultimately, the Righteous Lances were able to get some pretty good value, but Setang definitely struggled. You definitely want some more from him. Crossbows are all going to pay for themselves as well. Very cost-effective when well protected. Definitely can pay for themselves. The infantry here, Jade Warriors do struggle a little bit in some instances. Their armor definitely gives them an advantage over just regular state troops, but they definitely face a lot of counters against the Empire as well. One Peasant Long Spear also gets like 700 value. Very respectable. I say respectable. They like 2x their value, which is just great. Sterling's Revenge also contributes some nice support value shooting in there. And the rest of the army kind of does what it needs to. I would like to see a little bit more value on the Pistoliers. My heart would, at least. But I understand they're a tricky unit to use. And tactically, they did what they needed to, which is just kind of run around, support, disrupt, and act as a little bit of a late-game kind of force. Somewhat. Maybe third quarter is more appropriate, but that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.